concept of the local government, who doesn't want to put the money where the law says the money should be put in?
So my last question, Attorney Legarda, how do you want to be remembered as the First Lady Chief Justice of the Supreme Court?
As someone who has always been fair.
Okay. On that note, I don't have any more questions for Attorney Legarda.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Justice Hermosissima.
Good afternoon, Attorney Legarda.
Good afternoon, sir.
I have been well acquainted with Attorney Legarda during my stint in Sandigan Bayan. She was an active practitioner then.
Yes, sir.
Although I can say that Presiding Justice Garcitorena was always in her favor because they are both of Spanish descent.
I hope that's not the only reason, Justice. I hope he was also in my favor because I always came well prepared to court.
Well, what subject in law is your forte?
Well, right now I teach persons and family law, civil law review 1, succession and torts. And for legal ethics and for MCLE, I particularly I teach legal writing and legal ethics, Your Honor.
You realize, of course, that the Supreme Court is a court of general justice.
Yes, sir.
And so you don't specialize in any particular subject in law. Well, first things first. There are objections to candidates for the Supreme Court, the Chief Justice, who are so-called outsiders, United Judges. When Senator Miriam Santiago applied for the position of Chief Justice, I told her that I'm not objecting to outsiders applying for positions in the Supreme Court. Because I told her about Earl Warren, Governor of California, who was approached by Eisenhower, said, if you help me in your campaign, and if I succeed as President of the United States, I will appoint you to the first vacancy in the Supreme Court. It turned out that the first vacancy was Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States, and so Eisenhower said, no, just Associate Justice enough, not Chief Justice. But Earl Warren said, if you have any sense of honor at all, you will appoint me to the first vacancy in the Supreme Court. And he was. And Earl Warren was appointed. It turned out that the Earl Warren Court turned out the best doctrines in law in the United States. Among them was this Miranda doctrine. That's his. So, considering your forte, is the same-sex marriage allowed as legally valid and constitutional in the Philippines? This is valid in California, it's valid in Oklahoma, but then...
And Massachusetts, I think.
Massachusetts. How about the Philippines?
No, Your Honor, because in 1988, the Family Code specifically required a man and a woman to to be qualified to marry. Prior to 1988, Article 52 of the Civil Code does not state the gender of the marrying parties. This came into effect under the Family Code in 1988.
Well, others say that it is in accord with human rights on the matter. How about this proposal to teach or sex education among grade school and high school students? This is opposed, of course, by the Catholic Church. What are your thoughts?
You know, Justice, I work with the Child Protection Network Foundation.
Or would you like to leave it to the parents to do it?
Well, the word sex education is not mentioned in the civil law or in the family code as an obligation of the parents. The problem is, Justice, we have one of the highest numbers of teenage pregnancies in the world today. We are almost at par with the United Kingdom, where they have child mothers. And the reason for that, and we are horrified at the Child Protection Network Foundation, that many people, many young children think that they won't get pregnant the first time, which we know is false. Many people do not understand actually what the act of sex is. We have children who come to us saying that they were raped. But when you ask the questions, what do you mean when you say that they were raped? It turns out that maybe they were kissed or hinipuan sila because they see in soap operas screaming, hair being pulled, kissing scenes, and then segueing into something else, and it turns out that a sexual act had occurred. This continued cloak that veils the act is not good, and I would prefer that the schools and properly trained professors take it on, because now what happens is that these children see it on the internet. We had an extraordinary study recently done, Your Honor, that 9 out of 10 children have seen pornography and the act of sex on the internet. And without guidance from both parents and schools, I think the problem is just going to be worse. So yes, I agree that there should be sex education according to the age of the child, relevant and appropriate for the age of the child from grade school up. Our greatest number of victims are at the ages of 13, 14, 15.
On another matter, Congress is now starting deliberations on the RH bill. As a Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, it is only proper that you have your ears to the ground, so to speak, and watch the issues that will most probably come up to the Supreme Court for consideration and judgment. Well, the foremost issue in the RH bill is, will it have to, the Supreme Court will have to resolve whether or not the RH law violates the constitutional provision which states that the state should protect the life of the unborn from the moment of conception. Is the use of condoms or contraceptive device prevent the implantation of